This video is about my first game jam, a psycho chicken, and believing in yourself. The year 2021, my driving force, destiny. There was a 1 week long game jam, and despite never having participated in one before and not knowing if I would even do well, I entered. But why? Why finally enter one now? I don't remember. I haven't spent too long perfecting my ideas, so this 1 week time limit would be quite a challenge. But I had secret knowledge that would aid me. Secret knowledge that is mercilessly beaten into every game creator who dares to believe it doesn't exist. And it goes as follows. Game development is an enigma uncomprehendable to the human mind. If you think you can make something in a week, it will be done by the end of the year. If you think you can make something in a day, your grandchildren will finish it in your memory. To reach your goals, you must shoot for the simplest dumbed down idea you can, and then make it simpler. And the easiest thing to design is something that's already been designed, but you know, with dignity. So we are looking for a basic genre to slap a new coat of paint on, something like a top-down shooter. And a funny idea came to mind, an idea good enough to put time into. So I committed to the jam. I decided to make a game and compete. But jams aren't just about winning, they're fun, a way to learn. You get money if you win? I take it back, jams are about winning. And I had a week to do just that. Did you notice I never told you the theme for this game jam? Every game must be based around that theme. Could be practically anything, but this game jam's theme was egg. What bizarre games are going to be made around that theme? Well, a bizarre game like this. There is a saying, fox in the hen house, coined because a fox will destroy chickens in their home. But what if the player was a chicken throwing eggs and annihilating foxes in a fox city? I could call it Hen in the Fox House. Foxes fall before the unstoppable chicken. He's taken out half the block already. The police muster a defensive position. Their power generators get destroyed. They've been outplayed. The city is crumbling as the military arrives, but their best equipment is no match for the chicken. With something as silly as that, how could I not make this game? Is my vision for what the game could be. Would I ever reach that vision? I made the chicken and the fox sprites. It's pixel art because it's what I know how to make. I mean, it's not time to be learning new things. I then made their animations for running, eggs following, hitting foxes, and being thrown. The basics were there. But somewhere along there, I had to make a choice. A choice not to be a normal top-down game that you can just run in any direction. Instead, you can only move to the right, and I'll just have the buildings on the top of the screen. This kind of trimming under pressure is a really intriguing facet of game jams. Like, what could have been if you didn't have to make those changes? But the deadline was still unstoppably constant in its approach. I had destructible buildings, destructible items. I'd smashed together half the objects in existence to get those destruction sounds. The finish date was nearing, and I just had to put in a basic scoring system, basic respawn, just had enemies spawn to the right of you as you walk along. I was under pressure. Lastly, I created a song that loops during gameplay. And that pretty much sums up everything I did. I submitted my game in time, and the jam ended. The player character isn't actually meant to be a psycho chicken. I mean, maybe from the perspective of the foxes, but it's more of a Tom and Jerry slapstick cartoon kind of game. You know, I think it's silly. I think it's not terrifying. So, to have a shot at winning, my game was pretty lackluster, but so were a lot of the other games I saw. People enjoyed them anyway. With me usually trying too hard to make things perfect, it was a step forward for me to post my game. And people were supportive and enjoyed it quite a bit. To get a prize, I didn't even have to be first. So, did I win? No, I did not win. I got cast aside like garbage into... Oh snap, honorable mention? That's pretty good. So, there I was with my little honorable mention game. So much potential, but I didn't have the time. But I had time now. And we might as well start at the beginning. I wanted an opening cutscene like Enter the Gungeon where you just get hyped for that title drop and it hits you. You gotta pick yourself up off the floor just to press play. I'm not the best with art though, but as I saw earlier, even if things aren't the best, people still enjoy them, so I was going to try anyway. So I worked. I made the assets, I made the cutscene. Was the art the best? No, but to this day, it's one of my favorite things I've made. And the courage from sharing that drove me much further. But at the moment, it's still the trashy little game from the jam, except with a massive cutscene on the front of it, practically bigger than the whole game. So I planned out its additions. And I did something more. I'd seen others use these browser games to advertise a later release on Steam. So that's what I did too. This would be my first Steam game. Absolutely huge for somebody like me who wants to make games. And I had high hopes with how people enjoyed the web version. So I put in the effort and I got to adding features. Flying debris hurts the foxes. There are a ton more city assets, soldiers, weapons, and I have cars with guns to keep the player moving forward, a subtle incentive. But there was also a massive change. Instead of just continually running through one road, you play in increments of one day, and at the end of the day you see how you affected the city. It adds a whole metagame aspect, which adds a lot. If a certain section of the city gets damaged too much, it'll actually start damaging the other sections of the city. Not only satisfying, but think about it. If every person in the city had their house completely razed to the ground, local pizza place probably ain't gonna be doing too well. The main combat mechanic of the game is if you have eggs trailing behind you, you throw eggs at a faster rate. When you're out of eggs, you don't actually stop throwing eggs, it's just slower. It's kind of confusing, but I mean, it works gameplay-wise. But you have to stop what you're doing and hold space to lay eggs. You gotta choose. It's a give and take, risk versus reward. And holding space was kind of annoying, so I just made it automatic, and it's a lot simpler, a lot better. Good change. And to top it all off, I did a final boss. All this was added to the web version, and I was getting wish lists on Steam. But unfortunately, I had too much planned, and I had a deadline I wanted to release the game by. I ended up not publishing any more major changes, and so it was basically just the version that was on the web before it got released on Steam. It's not that special. I wanted to add so much more. I had so many cool ideas. I had around 130 wish lists when it launched, which, I mean, hey, when the number of people who wants to pay you is above 0, that's pretty good. And the game was released. But after the release, I only end up getting 12 sales. That's kind of short of the hopes and dreams that you have when you're releasing something. It's a bummer. But I still had all I wanted to add. So I was gonna work on it. I was gonna make it a version worthy of being on Steam. So I took my bold unfinished ideas and I started adding them. And somebody actually made fan art during this time. First fan art I think I've gotten. It's just an incredible feeling. Thank you. All the features I added to the game, I would release in an update 2.0. Which, if you think about it, 2.0 is just kind of the number 2, like a second game, but at the time I did not have that dilemma. And in the update were a lot of things. A more complex city system, completely making the other one look like garbage. New districts specific enemies, new bosses. I mean, there was one boss in the game before, multiple additions, it's a lot. Something people highly requested was upgrades to the chicken. I added those, named them Egg Foo. Really creative name. Made the foxes more reactive with fleeing and speech. I added a new being spotted mechanic, and I added a new ending, which wraps up nicely, more nicely than I'd anticipated. I built the game into so much more than it originally was. This update was incredible, but was it that original idea I had when I first came up with this game? Honestly, no, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I updated the Steam version to update 2.0, and I also put it on the web to help promote it. Except on the web version, you don't have access to the custom mode. The secret to unlock it is pay me money. And then I put the Steam version on sale. All I had to do now was wait. And I waited and sales trickled in, but I didn't even get to the $100 for Steam to actually bother to pay me. Then an incredible thing happened. So incredible, might be the reason why you're watching this right now. I had a video totally blow up on social media, getting me a lot of exposure, and that bled through to my game. I was getting sales, I got enough to get paid by Steam. Crazy, right? As of now, I've sold around 57 copies. It's still not incredible, but it's awesome to do anything. It's so hard to judge my own games. I want an incredible game I love to play and I'm just excited to play, but this just isn't that for me. But maybe it is for you. For the low price of free. You can play the whole thing on itch.io. Link in description. But fellow kids, don't worry, there's more. The next wacky step is to buy the full game on Steam, subscribe, like every video I've ever made, back of the credit card for life savings. Some people have asked for the game to be updated more, but I feel like a good change to it would have to be on a foundational level, and it's probably better to just make a sequel at that point, maybe later. In the end, I took a risk by lowering my standards, but I enjoyed it. People enjoyed it. I got my own Steam game out of it. It's so cool. I even get emotional at the ending. I know I wrote it, but I feel that ending. As I make this video, I'm still trying to learn from these lessons, try to make things faster, not spend too much time, because in the end, I'm gonna be happier and you're gonna be happier for me actually releasing something. And that has been my journey with my first game jam and my first Steam game, Hen in the Fox House. I just took part in my second game jam like recently. Check out that video next, if it's out. If it's not out, but check it out anyway.